Welcome back to FDM Academy channel. Here we are with co-founder of the FDM Academy, Matt Booth, Doctor of Physical Therapy. Thanks, Matt, for joining us.
Thanks, Todd.
So we are spanning the entire North American continent here. Matt's in Mexico, I'm in Alaska. We're trying to make sure that we get a decent recording for all of us to appreciate. So Matt, tell us, how did you get started in the FDM?
So I got started 10 years ago. Dr. Higginbotham in Boise gave me a copy of the FDM book from Dr. Topaldos, and I read through it. It made no sense to me. And a few months later, he said, "Hey, you got to get to this class next weekend. I know it's short notice, but you got to go. It's the only instructor in the U.S. certified to teach. You got to go to it." And I was like 5 weeks out from an Ironman triathlon, and that's a super important weekend. And I'm grumbling about like, I don't want to go to this thing. I got to train this weekend. And he said, "Well, if you can't go, get one of your partners to go." And all my partners said, "No, your weekend's less important than ours." And I'm complaining to my wife, like, "I can't go to this. I'm gonna screw up my triathlon." She's like, "How many times in your life are you gonna have a doctor invite you to a continuing education course?" Yeah, maybe we should go. So we go to it, pack up my bike, and go over to Yakima for the weekend at PNWU, and it's just amazing. What I felt on myself, all the holes it filled in. I get back to the clinic Monday morning and start putting it into use, and I just think like nothing is going to be the same, and really hasn't been the same in the last decade since I learned that.
Yeah, absolutely. So how long have you been teaching the FDM?
So FDM, it's been 3 years as an instructor, and assisting you with classes for a long time, and just kind of gradually, giving you annoying questions or feedback in the classes. But it's been a fun journey progressing and getting to that instructor level. And I wish we could be together teaching again. Really miss that.
What part of the FDM, teaching the FDM, is most satisfying to you?
The most important or the most satisfying part of it is really two parts. One is teaching to older, more established clinicians, so 20, 30 years experience, and just hearing the feedback from them afterwards, that this really changed their practice. You think that's hard to do when someone's been practicing for 2 or 3 decades, is to have a dramatic shift just overnight. And to hear them say, this just totally changed my practice, or sometimes even hearing, this saved my career. I was going to retire and now I'm rejuvenated again. I want to keep going with this. This is really fun stuff. So that's one side of the equation. Then the other side is hearing all of the new people studying this. They get it in medical school, PT school, chiropractic school, and then seeing them go out on their rotations. And sometimes they're better than the person that's, supervising them. And the supervisor runs out of things and they're like, "Hey, you want to give this a try?" They come in, use some FDM. Like, "What did you just do right there? What is that? I need to learn this stuff." So it's always great hearing from the students of some of these great stories where they're showing up all their preceptors. So those are the satisfying parts.
What do you feel is the hardest part of teaching the FDM?
The hardest part is just, remembering how much that I've learned in FDM and how much I've dove into that and just fully embraced it. So you got to teach the class, like, none of this makes sense to people at first. It's like they know what they think they know is a trigger point, and they're not even close to what a herniated trigger point is. So it's such a big leap. And so I always have to keep backing up, like, oh, there's a ton that I've changed in everything I've done from the very beginning. And so I have to learn to, go back, like, how do they know what to do? And, try to teach to their level and then build it back up. But, you have to meet them where they're at right off the bat.
Yeah, because it's a completely different way of looking at the body and musculoskeletal pain. We have been embraced in it for so long, we've been working with it for so long. It's kind of our intuitive way of thinking. And, somebody who just, I always laugh when I ask, "How did you get here?" And people sign up for the course totally not suspecting what they're getting into. Those are the fun people that change their lives. We had an orthopedic trauma surgeon show up at a class not too long ago, and their eyes were wide open. They absolutely loved the course. She was great. It was fun to have her in the room. but it totally changed their perspective.
Yeah. Oh, you're reminding me of something, that orthopedic surgeon we had at the convocation that one year. And I was showing some of the stuff on the ACLs and ACL tears and going in and treating that. And I did the treatment on him, and we had a talk for many hours at the bar afterwards. And he was talking about changing his surgical technique and going in. He's like, I wonder if I got this tool, I could go in and I could hit the CDs from this certain angle. Like, those are the cool things when you see someone change even just how they go about it, even from a surgical perspective.
Yeah, absolutely. What, as a practicing physical therapist, what do you think are some of your favorite parts of the FDM?
FDM just makes things so much faster for me. And I sometimes forget that until I get a student back with me. And the student PTs, they go through this very detailed evaluation. They're great and give them great marks on that. And the whole time I'm sitting back there, I'm like, all right, when are we going to get to it? Like, they just showed a trigger band, like, let's treat this thing. So I sometimes forget how much faster it makes me as a clinician. And I really appreciate that business-wise when patients come to me and they've seen 4 or 5 PTs and they're thinking nothing's going to be different, and it's completely different than traditional PT. So being able to help people that haven't been helped before and do it fast, that's a really nice thing to be able to do.
How do you see FDM fitting into the physical therapy curriculum for those students you work with?
Yeah, so from the student perspective, it's very interesting because our company, they were taking the approach that FDM should be at an advanced level. And to me, it makes sense to wait a little bit if someone is on their own. And I've seen this when people pick up FDM, it's like learning a foreign language. So if you go and pick up a foreign language at a weekend course and you go back home and nobody speaks your language, that's going to be really difficult. When I see students take it and they have other students to go back to, or they have other rotations where someone knows FDM, they do really well. They come out and they graduate school and they're like, 5-10 years past what they normally would be on their ability to treat. So I see it as, if somebody has the support system with them, if that was the faculty, if that was other clinical rotations, if they all knew how to do FDM, it would make a lot of sense to start putting that in the curriculum early and get people trained up, so they can, PT can learn orthopedics and learn FDM and put them both together right from the beginning. That would make a lot more sense. It's just going to take some time to build it up so we have more faculty and more sites that understand FDM and can help people, because otherwise, the students are lost because they're doing something sometimes, often better than what their preceptors can do.
Yeah, we really have gotten a lot of practicing clinicians to return to our courses because of the work that the students do when they come and rotate. So as co-founder of the FDM Academy, what's your hopes for the next year?
The next year, I hope we can get back to scheduling regular courses. It'd be great to get the advanced course that we had scheduled in July, to get that rescheduled again, because there was great information we're going to be able to do on that one. So I hope we can get back to those things and be able to do some live courses, do hands-on, and be able to start spreading this again the way people have been asking us, even through this, wanting to get back to it. We just haven't been able to get out there yet.
Yeah, I think we both recharge teaching in person and seeing that passion that is light the fire under students who are in the course. So it's definitely something we get back to. I see a need for online is always going to be there now in this day and age, at least for probably the next couple of years, but we'll never replace the hands-on learning capacity of this.
Speaking of just the online stuff, I do really believe that doing the hands-on makes a lot of sense, but I was surprised as we were starting to do telemedicine during the pandemic about how you can actually be teaching through the video. So as I was doing some practice, I needed to do a practice patient, and my brother, who's a triathlon coach, he had an injured athlete and it's the next state over and I'm not going over there. So we get things set up online, and I've got the patient and their spouse with an ankle sprain. And I was just really surprised, not even seeing the patient's face, but just all I can see is the spouse's thumb on the trigger band, and I can hear the sharp intake of air. And so I know he's on it. And so I'm saying, yeah, you're on it. That's it right there. Stay on it and just watch out that she doesn't slap you with the other hand, because you're really on it and causing a lot of pain right now. So to me, it's really cool that you can teach sometimes through that video, and you can get some good feedback. in certain ways about how people are doing techniques. So I'm looking forward to seeing that in the future as well.
Yeah, thanks, Matt, for joining me today and talking about some of the hopes for the future. Make sure that you're watching this video, that you like and subscribe the YouTube channel so you can see upcoming recordings. Matt and I will probably try to do a few more of these throughout the year to keep you up to date on what's happening with FDM Academy. But for now, thanks for joining us. And I guess we could do the traditional stay in the model.
Stay in the model.